Damn, the water heater is leaking electricity. Hold on, let's talk about where it's leaking later. Why don't you go put on some clothes? First, go on and greet everyone. My name is Tran Mak. The girl in front of my eyes is Jongshuk, my new roommate. Word has it, her family went bankrupt, and with no other choice, she had to come out and work odd jobs. She agreed to cram into a shared room with me for only one reason, because it's cheap. But ever since, she moved in to share the place with me. My days have never known peace. It's practically living a life worse than death. If it weren't for wanting to save little rent money, even if you beat me to death, I wouldn't do it. On the very first day, she stepped through the door. I took on the air of a gentleman and offered to help carry her luggage, only to get choked up by a single sentence of hers. "Did you wash your hands?" My hand immediately froze, stiff mid-air, like it got electrocuted, unable to pull it back, and awkward to leave out, with a face full of embarrassment. I finally had to swallow. My pride tilt sideways and make way for her, watching her petite figure struggling to drag that massive suitcase as she inched through the door. I completely forgot even to introduce myself. Judging by her expression, she didn't want to get acquainted with me either, right? Upon entering the house, she frowned, deep down. I knew she was turning her nose up at something. This apartment always had an indescribable, musty, moldy smell that even I've taken a long time to slowly get used to. "Do you have the key? I need to go out." For a bit later, she gave a light grunt through her nose as an acknowledgement without even batting an eyelid. I, too, was too lazy to bicker with her, grabbing my legs and stepping out the door. That day I went drinking with the bros, and by the time I got home, it was nearly 11 o'clock. I easily pushed open my bedroom door and froze right on the spot. What the hell is this still? A rat hole of a room. The floor was mopped so clean and shiny, it could act as a mirror, and the documents that were usually scattered randomly everywhere were now neatly arranged. Not gonna lie, having a neat freak girl around the house isn't half bad, actually. I dropped my head onto the pillow and crashed, waking up yesterday morning. Get ready for work. I discovered the desk was completely empty. My lifeline, that external SSD, had flown away. That thing was my flesh and blood, holding years of TikTok inspiration, all stored right inside it. So in a panic, I rushed to find Shangha there. "Hey, Shangha, did you help me tidy up the room yesterday?" "No need to thank me. I'm not trying to thank you. That SSD on my desk, did you see it?" I originally thought for sure you had just conveniently tucked it away to help me, but who would have thought she casually tossed back a single sentence, threw it out. Big sister, inside my SSD were stored several hundred gigabytes of reference materials. "You just threw it away like that for me." "It was just a trashy SSD. I'll compensate you with another one." Or are you saying it was full of adult movies? Hearing this, I really couldn't hold it in anymore. Today, I definitely had to set down some clear rules. Private space and common areas had to be strictly separated. The two of us argued for a solid 10 minutes. Finally, reaching an agreement. The living room, bathroom, and kitchen are shared zones. The bedroom is private territory. The balcony belongs to her and counts as her private space because she needs to hang underwear, and it's inconvenient for me to see. My room faces south, so the sunlight is pretty harsh. In my room, I could dry her sun-protective clothing, which otherwise never saw a shred of sunlight. To compensate, she agreed to fully cover the utility bills. After shaking hands on these three terms, she turned toward her room, and before even a moment had passed, the sound of sniffling started drifting over, getting louder and louder. I rubbed my nose and secretly wondered, didn't even bully her or anything, did I? Anyway, normally, I barely use any utilities, and I didn't even force her to cough up. Next time, Saturday morning, I was deep in a sweet dream when suddenly the bedroom door was shoved wide open. I bolted, bright in sheer fright, right off the bed, staring straight into the panicked face of Jongsha. "Big sis, next time you come in, can you knock first or what? Why didn't you lock the door, then? Does this piece of junk door of mine look like it even has a lock? No way, I just came to borrow 2 clothes hangers." What are you doing, jerking off in here or what? Damn it, I'm a grown man, standing 1 meter 80 tall. There's a lock no. Why, I just came to borrow 2 clothes hangers, totaling 8,600,000. Within 3 months, you completely finished these projects, yet ended up getting her whole face blushed, bright red by this teasing remark. She took the 2 clothes hangers, the corners of her mouth twitching upward again. Hey, those cute cartoon boxers were pretty cool, right? Right, big sis, you're out of moves, aren't you? Or should I gift you a couple pairs from her slightly jumbled footsteps? She scurried away. I could tell she wasn't nearly as calm as she looked on the outside. Roommates, right? No matter what, there's always a process of friction. The kind of friction I originally thought was where both people could find each other's boundaries. Or if you don't cross them, you're considered a qualified roommate. Not her. She clearly knew where his boundaries were, yet kept hopping back and forth, right across the line. For example, she would still often, like a cat, sneak into my room or barge straight into the bathroom while I was brushing my teeth and washing my face, discovering me in there and then, letting out an ear-piercing scream no less loud than a siren. Who knows what the hell she was screaming for in that room? Furthermore, she had virtually zero practical living skills. Clothes tossed into the washing machine meant the rest was entirely up to fate. She couldn't cook at all, yet loved to blindly roll up her sleeves and try anyway, almost burning the house down. Every single time, I had to curse under my breath while taking her hand and showing her how it's done. The only thing that brought me comfort was that she picked things up pretty fast. The second time she cooked, she already knew that when an oil pan catches fire, you can't pour water on it, but instead put laundry detergent on it. Then, July 16th was her birthday. Why did I know? Well, because that day, she was like a cat possessed by a demon, just muttering away on the living room sofa. Today is my birthday, for heaven's sake. Don't let me work overtime. Today is my birthday. For heaven's sake, don't let me work overtime. Honestly, the quality of my sleep has always been pretty good, but even I couldn't handle this chanting, like a spell of hers. Just as I suppressed a bellyful of anger wanting to remind her she had already dashed out of the house, today she left in an unusually hurried manner. Her bedroom door wasn't fully closed. I didn't go in, just glancing through the door and seeing takeout boxes on the table inside still holding half a steamed bun, a small bowl of porridge, and 2 small cartons of vegetables. This was her dinner from last night. Feeling like I was possessed by a ghost, I turned around, went downstairs to buy groceries, and timed it so that, right when she got off work that evening, I was stir-frying vegetables while cursing myself for being sick in the head. By the time she pushed the door open and stepped in, the living room table already had 4 dishes and a soup laid out alongside 4-inch birthday cake. She froze right on the spot. What's up? Do you have friends coming over tonight? No, some idiot is having a birthday today. How did you know today is my birthday? To tell you the truth, this morning, just if you had spoken even slightly louder, the whole building would have known. Who would have thought a guy like you, though looking shady on the outside, actually has a pretty good heart? This is the first time since my dad passed away that someone has thrown me a birthday party. This little girl grew up pretty and had a great figure too, truly a decent person, but she had to go and grow a toxic trash-talking mouth. After finishing celebrating her birthday, she didn't go back to her room, instead, naturally resting her head on my lap and falling asleep. And as for me, I stayed wide awake all night, not because I had any shady intentions, mostly just because my legs went completely numb and lost all feeling. After that day, the dynamic between the two of us was basically iced broken. We could hang out on the sofa together, snack, and watch TV. She probably took a liking to my steady temperament, while as for me, tamamen lusting after her looks. Today, I was taking a shower in the bathroom while I was wolfing down food in the living room when from inside suddenly came a miserable scream. Ah, it's hot. The water heater is leaking electricity. Right after that, Manhwa came rushing out stark naked. To be honest, my brain went completely on strike right then, paralyzed and frozen, solid for a full 3 seconds. Let's talk about where it's leaking later. How about you go put on some clothes first? Following that incident, it became awkward whenever she ran into me, always dodging away. About 3 months passed, and I don't know if I had stomach ache or diarrhea or what, but inside my gut, It felt like a drill bit. It was boring right through me. I just drifted away for about 3 months. I also don't know if it was stomachache, diarrhea or what. It felt like there was a drill inside my stomach, drilling in. Pain. At first, I thought pushing through for a bit would make it stop. Then it felt more and more not right. Just as I was struggling and wanting to throw up, Xiangshu suddenly rushed over, wrapping her arms tightly around my face with hands both cold and trembling. Back then, I was in too much pain to utter a single complete sentence. Yet she didn't say another word, throwing on a coat and helping me downstairs. This was the 6th floor. I couldn't figure out how on earth that frail body of hers was able to stubbornly carry me all the way down. She wanted to call a cab, but ended up forgetting to bring her phone. Half carrying, half dragging me like that. She struggled until the middle of the night before finally getting me into the emergency room. By the time I finished getting my IV drip and woke up, the sun was almost rising. The doctor said it was severe stomach spasms and nothing to worry about. Thanks to you, go get some sleep. It's almost time for work. It's fine. I already asked for leave. A few days later, I made a full recovery. To thank her, I rolled up my sleeves and busted my tail, cooking for a whole afternoon. Changshuk ate while praising it. So delicious. Can you cook for me for the rest of my life? That moment, blood instantly rushed to my head. I nodded, and seeing her smile like that, I only then reacted that I had overthought things. She meant cooking for life in the literal sense after all. After this incident, she stopped ordering takeout for dinner, clinging to me every single day, demanding to cook, saying it was both economical and hygienic. My mouth always complained. But whenever I thought of that desperate look when she carried me to the hospital, the speed at which I stir-fried veggies got even faster. But today was a bit unusual. The food was all served, and after waiting 5 minutes, she still hadn't come out to eat. I pushed open her bedroom door to check, only to find her buried face down in the bed, sobbing softly. What's wrong? Did someone bully you? If anything's the matter, just say it. Straight out, we're buddies after all. Actually, the matter wasn't complicated. Changsha never worked overtime at her company. When quitting time hit, she bounced. With that app of hers, she honestly couldn't comprehend any of that bullshit corporate culture. Plus, after taking time off because of me recently, her manager dropped subtle hints wanting her to optimize herself. I understood the bastard's point. Quitting was fine. But what did I do wrong? The severance pay we were supposed to get shouldn't be short by a single dime. Leave this lousy little issue safely to me. The company Shanga worked for dealt with microloans. Yesterday, I put on a decent outfit, shaved clean, wore a fake luxury watch I hadn't worn in ages, and walked into the lobby with my toes pointed outward. Hello, sir. Do you have an appointment? Nope. Go have your director come out here and meet me. Before long, a fat guy wearing a shiny white suit ran out. The image in my memory matched him. It was definitely him. Hello, sir. What kind of business consultation are you looking for? Capital 2 million. 2 million. Don't make me laugh. 200 grand. Why would I even need to find you guys? I can just use a loan app and get it instantly. That day I dragged that fat dog of a director from business chats, products from ancient history to life philosophy. And finally, when I left, I didn't even leave behind a single phone number. The next day, I continued, going back, sitting there stubbornly for a whole week until he finally realized I was just messing with him and refused to pay me any attention anymore. We freelance media folks don't have any other special skills, just wide connections. I posted a cry for help message on my account, and boom, bunch of righteous fellows responded and went to battle. Some said they wanted to bring their wives along. Some said they wanted to bring hammers, and even an older brother who had just gotten out of prison said he wanted to bring his boys out to make some pocket money. I can only say that internet users this season are truly talented, and their conversation is so pleasant to listen to. I genuinely love it. Within just a few days, that fat director couldn't hold out anymore and called me. The phone connected, and I cut straight to the chase. Fire the employee, fine. Just hand over the full severance pay. Once you follow the proper official procedures, the troublemakers will naturally stop coming. Hand over enough compensation money is follow the proper formal procedures and those people stuff to run away from this suffocating apartment. Less than 5 minutes after hanging up, Shangsha gleefully ran over to find me. The boss agreed to pay up. On the day of processing her resignation procedures, went along with her. That director saw me and his face turned as green as bitter melon, while the sales staff nearby looked like they wanted to rush over and beat me up. As for me, I generously waved and greeted them. Jong-shuk, by my side, stood there dumbfounded. You have such great connections with them. Pretty good, basically. We've all had deep exchanges. Jong-huk just rested like that at home for a week, sleeping every day until she woke up naturally, and then eating whatever I cooked. I heard her complain that she gained a whole 6 pounds in this 1 week. Once she had rested enough, she started sending out resumes, interviewing, and waiting for offers. There was a moment when I genuinely wanted to teach her how to do freelance media, so the two of us could idle around at home all day. That feeling would also be pretty cozy. I admit I had selfish motives. Having a supreme beauty at home, just looking at her, put me in a good mood. But all of this was ruined by a single phone call. Jang-juk found a new job doing administrative work in Sifeng district, which took over an hour of subway riding from where I was. That evening, the two of us celebrated a little, taking advantage of the alcohol buzz. I pretended to casually ask a question. Big sis, when are you planning to move out? Do you need me to lend a hand? Who said I want to move out? I figured your new company is too far away. It's not far. Besides, you didn't say that before. For your previous job, if it added 40 minutes, you'd already want to move house. If you get bullied again in the future, just look for your bodyguard. Right at this moment, the landlord suddenly pushed open the door and walked in. You two, I'm truly sorry. I've sold this apartment. The buyer is rushing us, so please, hurry up and pack your things. Froze right on the spot, unable to recover my senses for a long while, and could only turn my head to look at Zhongshu. This place can't be lived in anymore. Where are you planning? Move. To Sifeng's district, closer to the company. Saves me a headache. And you? Me probably heading out to the suburbs to find some quiet place that's cheap and has space to create. Neither of us brought up cohabiting again. The awkwardness was terrifying. After all the time we spent together was too short from the initial conflicts to later understanding each other, and then to comrades in arms. Days pass by far too hastily. If we could have been given another half-year of time, I definitely would have had the courage to spill my guts out and ask her if she wanted to share a rice bowl and cook meals together. But now, opening my mouth, no matter how you look at it, just seemed like I had impure motives. How about I go with you to Sifeng district and find another place for the two of us to rent together? We can save quite a bit of money. My department has a new colleague who arrived yesterday. We already agreed to room together. I'm moving right away. I helped Jung-yuk pack her luggage. She raised her hand and patted the dust off my shoulder. Do you want a hug? Hug my ass, you're all packed up anyway. No need to make things so sappy. I instinctively pulled her tight into a hug, watching the moving truck pull her further and further away, flying off with the wind, just like my love. It had only just sprouted, being nipped in the bud. I don't remember clearly how she broke free from my embrace, nor can I remember how I said goodbye. The moment she hugged me tight, all I had in my head were those 4 words, faded yet drifting apart. In the end, I could only wave goodbye toward the empty street. Ever since that day, our WeChat chat history stopped at September 6th. The next day, I also moved, calling a bunch of bros over, loud, rowdy, and struggling for a whole day. Once we finished busy work, it was already dark, so we found a barbecue point to eat skewers and drink beer. That familiar feeling suddenly dragged me back to reality. That little figure seemed to have lightened quite a bit inside my heart. Tranmak, where did the hot girl you were rooming with go? Moved out. Why didn't you keep renting together? She got a job in Sifeng district. Living with me wouldn't cover the rent you're talking about. Is to arrange the right person. Truth for me. Aren't you still missing her? Deep down, I don't, you bullshit artist. If you don't, why'd you rent a 2-bedroom apartment? These words were like a sledgehammer, smashing open the protective shell in my brain. That's right, why the hell did I rent? 2-bedroom place, all by myself. Even before my friends pointed it out, I hadn't even realized it myself. I spent half a day choosing a place that was both expensive and close to Sifang district, of all places. Even I couldn't clearly explain it. Maybe just like my bros said, my subconscious was still waiting for Shunguk to come back. Life went back to its old appearance, but some habits truly couldn't be dropped. For example, always accidentally cooking too much rice and soup, and still not forgetting to order takeout. That laziness also vanished periodically as I went back to cleaning up the house, from top to bottom. The empty guest bedroom was kept impeccably clean by me too. Today, the rain was extra heavy, with flashes of lightning tearing through one after another. It was helping my computer brainstorm a creepy supernatural script, trying to figure out if there's a ghost hiding under the bed to scare people, or if what's outside the door is scarier deep in thought and totally absorbed. I hunched over and glanced under the bed, guessing I wouldn't find something filthy, but instead finding an unexpected item. I was lying right there. That external SSD Shangshuk made me lose. Why was it here? Someone knocked on the door, giving me a start. As I tremblingly opened it, standing outside was a woman soaked through like a drowned rat. Dummy, you don't know how to lend a hand. Shangshuk, what kind of stunt are you pulling now? The real estate agents are way too shady nowadays. Can I just transfer the rent directly to you so we can save some agency fees? That's a pretty unique way to greet your roommate. Hurry up and go take a shower. Otherwise, you'll easily catch a cold. Does this room's water heater leak electricity? It doesn't. I tested it for you a few times. Right, how did you even find your way here? I asked that real estate agent. Didn't the two of us use the same agent? You forgot. Ready. Huh, that guy was actually all right. Not nearly as shady as you make him out to be. That real estate agent wasn't bad indeed. I meant he was pitch black, literally dark-skinned. Jangsha hummed a little tune as she stepped into the spare bedroom to help me. She leaned back against the living room sofa, rainwater still dripping from the tips, her fingers clinging to her when she had just been freezing cold. I got up and headed back to the kitchen to reheat the leftover food from earlier. Since Janga finished tidying up the room, she was probably starving again by now. I knew this girl's appetite, like the back of my hand, looking skinny and petite. But when it came to eating, she never lost to anyone at the old place. Every time I cooked 4 dishes and a soup, she could always eat half a bowl of rice more than me. Before long, the spare bedroom door opened. Changshuk changed into a clean light pink pajama set, plopping down heavily onto the sofa and staring intently at the reheated food on the table, her eyes lighting up. It's actually reheated. Was already totally full just now, but it smells so good, so eating 2 more bites is fine too. She said this while very naturally picking up her chopsticks to eat, completely losing the disheveled look of someone who had run through the rainstorm to get here, and losing the alienation of the time spent apart. It was as if that half-month plus of being apart had never even existed at all, just like she had always lived in this house. I sat opposite her, watching the way she ate, the corners of my mouth subconsciously curling upward. Didn't you say? Living with your new colleague was great. Why'd you suddenly move out and on top of that, brave a heavy rainstorm to come looking for me over here? Aren't you scared? Already have a new girlfriend. Jangshug's hand holding food stiffened, the tips of her ears turning slightly red. That colleague simply couldn't be lived with. He was ridiculously nosy. On the very first day I moved in, she complained I showered too long, and complained I made noise going to the bathroom at night. The more she talked, the more aggrieved she felt, her lips pouting out. Hi, just like back at the old place when she got bullied by company leadership. Not a single bit different, picking right to the end. Her voice grew softer and softer, her head dropping low so she didn't dare look at me. Her lower lip was bitten to the point. It could almost bleed, making my heart melt. Today I am here to negotiate business properly. This is a new project that our company couldn't bear to tease her anymore, reaching out to stroke her hair. It still felt just like last summer, soft and warm. If you want to come over, just come over. This place naturally has 2 bedrooms. Leaving one empty is just a waste anyway. Having you here makes it way livelier. Aren't you finding me annoying? Annoying, definitely annoying. You don't know how to cook. You lack basic living skills, and you still always love touching my stuff randomly. However, considering you look pretty cute, I'll reluctantly take you in. But there are conditions first. From now on, you're not allowed to casually enter my study and touch my things, especially my manuscripts and that SSD. That's my lifeline. Second, cooking is on me, but washing dishes, wiping tables, and taking out the trash are all handed over to you. No. Being lazy allowed. Memo item 3. When taking a shower at night, you must wait for me to check the water heater before you're allowed to go in. No being reckless like last time and almost causing an accident. Heard it. Heard it. From now on, I'll definitely be obedient and well-behaved. Absolutely won't touch your stuff. I'll monopolize the dishwashing and table wiping, and for showers, I'll absolutely wait for you to inspect to ensure I don't cause you any extra trouble. With her mouth she swore and promised, but deep down, I knew this young lady's words too well. At most, you could only believe half of it. Who knows, in a few days, she'd probably start bouncing around and challenging my boundaries again. But I wasn't annoyed either. Compared to a cold apartment when living alone, was even more willing to let her occasionally make some noise. At least this house had some warmth of human life. After eating jangshuk, very consciously cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks, carried them into the kitchen, turned on the faucet, and started washing the dishes. I leaned against the kitchen door, watching her. Her movements weren't considered skilled, but she was very serious, cautious down to the very last detail, as if she was afraid of dropping and breaking something. Right, how did you know I moved? Here, did the real estate agent actually dare to give you my new address? I thought. He had to uphold professional ethics. I begged the real estate agent for a long time, and even bought him a cup of milk tea, telling him that you and I were good friends who had minor falling out while rooming together previously, and now we wanted to make peace. He softened up and gave it to me right away. I even said that when you moved in here, you deliberately asked if you needed a 2-bedroom place, saying it was to leave 1 room empty. He guessed right then that you were waiting for me. Don't listen to his nonsense. I just felt that 2 bedrooms were spacious, one to live in and one as a study was just the right fit. I wasn't waiting for you at all. Oh, is that so? Then who was it back then, at the old place, who asked me if I wanted to go together to Sifting District to rent? Who was it? Who was the one with the thick skin to bring it up first? You little brat, don't keep digging up the past all day. Hurry up and dry your hair. Otherwise, tomorrow you'll have a headache and catch a cold, and I don't have time to take you to the hospital, despite saying that I still turned around. Grabbed hair dryer, plugged it in, and helped her dry her hair. Jungshuk was a bit shy around people, but still sat obediently on the sofa. I stood behind her, my fingers gently running through her long hair as the warm breeze from the dryer slowly blew. The strands, tangled on my fingertips, were soft beyond description. The house was very quiet, with only the buzzing sound of the hairdryer. At that moment, an idea suddenly flashed through my mind. She almost burned down the old place last time, and this time she still dares lay her hands on it. Hurry up and wait outside. Let me handle it. 10 minutes and it's done. Jangshuk obediently backed out to the kitchen doorway, leaning against the doorframe and watching me without even blinking, looking like a little fangirl. Tran Mak, how come you know everything? You know how to cook, you know how to fix things, and you even know how to help me vent my anger. You're way too badass. I got complimented by her, to the point of being a bit embarrassed. I didn't want to stop movements of my hands. Frying 2 eggs, toasting 2 slices of bread, and warming up 2 glasses of milk. Simple breakfast was complete. Jungshuk finished brushing her teeth and washing her face, then sat beside the dining table, devouring breakfast and praising it while eating. So delicious. It's insanely good. How can you be this talented? It's too good, even tastier than breakfast from shops outside. From now on, will I get to eat breakfast made by you every single day? Too delicious, even more fragrant than the breakfast sold outside. From now on, will I be able to eat breakfast made by you every day? That depends on my mood. If I have to rush a deadline and get busy, You can just order. Take out yourself, don't count on me. She raised her head and smiled at me. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on her face. So warm, it made my eyes sting slightly, unable to open them. At that moment, I suddenly felt that what they call the hustle and bustle of human life is roughly just like this. Home 2 people. 3 meals 4 seasons. In the morning. There is breakfast in the afternoon. There is a road home. Last time she almost burned down the old place. And this time she still dares to lay her hands on it. Hurry up and wait outside. Let me handle it. 10 minutes and it's done. Jangsha obediently backed out to the kitchen doorway, leaning against the doorframe and watching me without blinking. Tran Toi, back, looking like a little fangirl. Why do you know everything? You know how to cook. You know how to fix things, and you even know how to help me vent my anger. You're way too badass. Got complimented by her to the point of being a bit embarrassed. Movements of my hands not stopping as I fried. 2 eggs toasted, 2 slices of bread and warmed up, 2 glasses of milk. A simple breakfast was complete. Xionghyuk finished, brushing her teeth and washing her face, then sat beside the dining table devouring her breakfast and praising it while eating. So delicious. It's insanely good. How can you be this talented? It's too good, even tastier than breakfast from shops outside. From now on, will I get to eat breakfast made by you every single day? That depends on my mood. If I have to rush a deadline and get busy, you can just order. Take out yourself, don't count on me. She raised her head and smiled at me. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on her face. So warm it made my eyes sting slightly, unable to open them. At that moment, I suddenly felt that what they call the hustle and bustle of human life is roughly just like this. Home 2 people. 3 meals 4 seasons. In the morning. There is breakfast in the afternoon. There is a road home. Changshuk's new job was an administrative position, working from 9 in the morning to 6 in the evening, occasionally working overtime. Every morning I would finish preparing, occasionally working overtime. Every morning I would prepare everything. Breakfast 10 minutes before she finished eating, so she could rush out the house. In the evening, when she got off work, I would almost be done cooking dinner. She really walked the talk, proactively washing the dishes after every meal, tidying up the kitchen, and cleaning the living room. Although she still occasionally did silly things. Compared to before, she had improved way too much. I continued with my work in spiritual media every day, holing up, at home writing manuscripts, drawing illustrations, and editing videos. The days passed in a regular and peaceful rhythm. Whenever Zhang Zhu got off work early, she would sit on the sofa, in the living room quietly, reading a book or scrolling on her phone, without disturbing my work, occasionally bringing me a cup of warm water. However, within this peaceful cohabitation, an unspeakable ambiguity gradually developed, like a thin layer of window paper. No one poked through it, but both could sense the difference deep in each other's eyes. For example, when sitting together watching TV on the sofa at night, she would unconsciously lean against my shoulder. When seeing horror movie scenes, she would grip my arm tightly, burying her whole body in my embrace and trembling all over, while her mouth still stubbornly claimed that she wasn't scared at all. Not scared in the slightest. She would quietly leave the living room light on for me, warm a cup of milk and place it next to my desk, then quietly go back to her room to sleep. Or for example, on rainy days I would calculate her off-work time in advance, take an umbrella to the subway station, pick her up. She would link arms with me, step through puddles as we walked, and smile with a face brimming with happiness. On weekends, the two of us rarely went out, mostly staying holed up at home. I'd rush drafts and edit manuscripts while she tidied up the house nearby or learned how to make a few small snacks. Although the success rate wasn't high, every time she finished making them, she'd bring them for me to taste first. One Saturday, not long ago, I was at home editing videos, so busy I was dizzy, and forgot to eat lunch. Zhang Shuk noticed everything without disturbing me, and on her own, quietly entering the kitchen to follow the online recipe, learning how to wrap wontons. By the time I finished my busy work and stepped out of the study, I immediately saw on the dining table a bowl of misshapen, clunky wontons. She was wearing an apron, with flour still stuck to her hands, looking at me with eyes full of anticipation. I looked at those bizarre-looking wontons. Some had torn wrappers. Some had the filling popping out and couldn't help but burst out laughing. I picked up the spoon and tasted a piece. The taste was actually pretty good, only she added a bit too much salt, making it slightly salty. Changsha looked at me nervously. How is it? Is it good? Is it really hard to eat? It's all right, just put a bit too much salt. Next time, put a little less, okay? I smiled and said, then ate the entire bowl of wontons clean. Changsha saw me finish eating everything and jumped up for joy, like a child who had just received praise. That afternoon, the two of us sat soaking up the sun on the balcony. She leaned back in her chair with her eyes closed, catch the sunshine. Tran Mac, tell me, do you consider who's like this to be roommates? Of course we do. We're not just the best roommates. We're also the best of friends. Her eyes shone brightly as she looked at me, carrying a trace of emotion that I couldn't quite understand. Her lips parted as if to say something. But in the end, no words came out, only a soft, hesitant murmur. Knew full well that what was in her heart and what was in my heart had long ago surpassed the boundaries of friendship and roommates. It's just that both of us were waiting for a suitable moment, waiting for both of us to have enough courage to speak the feelings hidden deep down in our hearts. Time circulated slowly, passing day by day, and the weather gradually turned cold. Stepping into late autumn, the atmosphere in the house grew warmer and warmer each day. Coming home from work and simply pushing the door open to smell the rich aroma of food with someone by your side to chat with was no longer the loneliness of being by myself. Days like this made me sink deeper and deeper, infatuated and increasingly terrified of the feeling of losing her. One weekend in fading autumn, a light drizzle fell from the sky, making the weather gloomy and chilly. Both of us were too lazy to go out. Shrinking back into the living room, I sat organizing my previous materials, while Changsha hugged a cushion on the sofa scrolling through her phone. The atmosphere was extremely quiet and warm. Scrolling away, Changsha suddenly let out a sigh, her mood sinking instantly. She tossed her phone aside, hugged her knees, buried her face between both knees, and lay still without moving. I noticed her unusual behavior, immediately stopped my unfinished work, and gently patted her back. What's wrong? Everything was fine. Why are you suddenly so sad? Did you suffer some grievance at work? Did someone dare bully you? My tone became much gentler, afraid of startling her. She shook her head slightly, and after a long while raised her face, her eyes red and still welling with tears as she looked at me. The choked voice, turns out today was the death anniversary of her father. Remembering back before, during her birthday, she had mentioned to me that her father had passed away and all the money at home had gone into medical treatments, which was why she had to go out and work odd jobs, living in cheap, run-down rental rooms. I never dared to ask too much about her past out of fear of touching upon her pain. I reached out to pull her into my embrace, letting her lean firmly against my shoulder, gently stroking her trembling back, just like soothing a child. Changsha couldn't hold it in any longer, lapsing into my arms and crying her eyes out. Sobs choked, with grievance releasing all the pent-up sadness and longing she had held back for so long. I hugged her tightly, feeling the tremors in that body, and my own heart ached in sympathy, flooded with deep pity. A girl who on the outside looked so cute, naive, and carefree. The body and long-suppressed yearning poured out completely. Held her tightly, feeling the shivering on that body. My heart also became sour along with it, flooded with heartache. A girl who on the outside looked so adorable, naive, and carefree like that, but deep inside, she harbored so many hidden worries and so much heartache. Since childhood, her family background was well off, and she grew up hampered by her parents never having to endure any hardship. But suddenly her father fell gravely ill, wiping out all their savings, until finally he still passed away for good. From a little princess with enough to eat and warm clothes, she abruptly turned into a lonely hired worker, struggling amidst the world. Anyone in her place would find it hard to get over. Crying for a long while, Changsha gradually calmed down, her eyes swollen like two walnuts, her nose tip reddish as she leaned close against my chest and softly whispered to me about things in the past. Her father, previously, did small business, and the family's financial conditions were very good ever since she was little. Whatever Changsha wanted, she got, never lacking anything at all. Even when she did poorly in school, her dad didn't scold her, only saying that as long as she was happy, it was fine. Her mother had passed away when she was still very young, leaving her father to raise Jonghyuk all by himself, indulging her in everything. 3 years ago, Jangchuk's father suddenly discovered he had cancer, and what's more, it was in the late stage. At that time, Jonghyuk had just passed the college entrance exam. Upon hearing the bad news, her whole body felt paralyzed. To treat her father, their house was completely sold off. All the savings accumulated from doing business vanished entirely, and any relatives or friends he could borrow from had all been borrowed from once over. Yet still they couldn't keep him. The day her father left, he had grabbed Jonghyuk's hand and instructed her to take good care of herself, not let herself suffer any grievances, live a truly happy life, and find someone who would genuinely treat her well, not ending up like him. Changsha had promised him, but Jangjuk still couldn't suppress her missing for her father. Every time she saw others cherished by their fathers, she would feel extremely heartbroken. After graduating, Shangha didn't want to stay in her hometown out of fear of scenery, triggering sad memories, so she came all alone to this city, finding the cheapest rental room to live in and finding a job just enough to support herself. She didn't dare contact relatives, afraid they would ask if her life was going well, and also afraid she wouldn't be able to hold back her tears. Before, at the old apartment building, she always liked to pick fights with me and loved touching my belongings. Actually, it was because she was too lonely, wanting to find a little sense of existence, wanting someone to start a conversation with her. Later, when she grew closer to me, when I celebrated her birthday and helped her vent her anger, Jangsha finally felt that this city didn't seem so cold. After all, having someone by her side, accompanying her, was truly better. During that half-month plus of separation, every day, she tossed and turned, struggling to sleep and unable to eat well, feeling a constant emptiness in her heart. No matter where she was, she felt that place wasn't home. Only when she was by my side did she feel at ease. She poured out a very long stream, filling all the worries buried deep down in her heart for so long for me to hear. I hugged her tightly, my heart surging with fierce pity, hating that I couldn't give every bit of tenderness in this world to her. This little girl, who looked so free-spirited and casual on the outside, was actually extremely sensitive and starved for affection. All those childish temper tantrums and recklessness were nothing more than a disguised armor protecting herself deep in her core. She was still a little girl who needed to be sheltered. I tightened my grip around her, in my arms, speaking in a low, warm and full of conviction voice. I told her that from now on, it wouldn't be like that anymore. From this day forward, with me accompanying her by her side, she would never have to be alone by herself again. I would take my father's place in taking good care of Shankar, wouldn't let her suffer any grievances, and wouldn't let her be lonely. No matter what happened, I would always be stationed by Jangshug's side. Raising her head to look at me, those drops, tears still lingered on her cheeks, her eyes brimming with emotion and dependency. Tranmak, are all the things you said true? You won't abandon me, right? It's true. I promise I will never abandon you. From now on, your birthdays, I will always be by your side to spend them with you. When you suffer grievances, I will step up to defend you. When you feel lonely, I will keep you company. Can we be together forever like this? Changguk nodded with all her might, threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly, burying her face against my chest, and shyly said, "Yes, we'll be together forever." At that moment, two lonely hearts completely leaned on each other with no more distance between them. All those secret affections hidden deep in the heart. All those ambiguities. It couldn't be clearly expressed into words at this very moment. All of them found their destination. Both of us understood that the other person had long since become an indispensable part of each other's destiny. That night, I made a table full of dishes. She loved to eat, opened a bottle of juice, and accompanied her to remember her late father. I told, from now on every year on this day, Manhwa will always be by your side. If you miss your dad, just talk to me. I will always listen. Jangshuk smiled and nodded, the sorrow at the corners of her eyes fading, a bit replaced by a few parts of tenderness and peace of mind. She knew, from this moment on, she was no longer a drifting, helpless girl. She had a harbor, she had a home, and in that home was me. The peaceful days just kept passing like that before our eyes, turning into winter. The weather grew colder and colder, and the heater was turned on inside the house, feeling extremely warm and cozy. Our relationship had long surpassed the level of roommates, becoming a pair of lovers leaning on each other without anyone formally confessing yet, but still tacitly understanding and bound together, doing things meant only for people who loved each other. But life is never always smooth sailing. Occasionally small waves arose to test the feelings of both of us. Fortunately, we always stood on each other's side, having each other's back, and facing things together. Boss at Jangkok's new company was a middle-aged man in his early 40s with a lustful nature who had previously made some suspicious moves toward her. He often used work as an excuse to call Jangshuk alone to his office, or else forced her to work overtime or ran her personal errands. Jangshuk gritted her teeth and endured, not telling me because she was afraid of worrying me, and also afraid I would act rashly and cause trouble. Until one evening, Jangshuk worked overtime until past 10 before dragging her tired body home, her face carrying so much grievance and her eyes red as soon as she entered the door. She threw herself into my arms and burst into bitter tears. My heart tightened as I hurriedly hugged her and asked what happened. If something had happened, Jangshuk cried for a long time before sobbing, recounting how her boss had called her into his room again today, getting hands-on and trying to harass her. She had to risk her life to resist and escape, while also being threatened by him, that if she dared utter a single word, he would fire her. Hearing this, my blood boiled with rage. I was so angry that I shook, wishing I could rush right over to her company and beat the crap out of that scum of a boss. How dare he bully my person? I absolutely wouldn't let this slide. Don't be hot-headed and go to Itatoi with him. He's the company boss. We can't afford to offend him. At worst, I can just resign and find another job. That's all. Jangshuk was afraid I would act rashly and stir up trouble, holding my hand tightly to advise me to just let her resign. Resign on what grounds? You didn't do anything wrong. On what grounds should you suffer humiliation and quit? He bullied you, so he has to pay the price. I'll handle this matter to the end, my voice said firmly, soothing Jangshuk to calm down and telling her to just stay home and rest well, not to think too much about it, and leave everything else to me to resolve. I didn't act rashly and run to the company to cause a scene. Instead, I calmly gathered evidence first. I told Jangshuk to take all her chat logs and call logs, running to the company to cause a ruckus, but calmly collecting evidence first. I told Jangshuk to take all chat history, call history, calls harassing her, along with the testimonies of colleagues who had witnessed it. Compiling everything together, I even found a few colleagues close to her to inquire about the situation. And shockingly, this boss had not only harassed Jangshuk, but also bothered several other female employees in the company. It's just that everyone was afraid of losing their jobs, so they swallowed their grievance and dared not speak up. Having worked in content creation for so long, naturally knew quite a few friends in the media and blogging world. To deal with this kind of office creep, I had plenty of ways. First, I anonymously sent all the dossier and evidence to the Discipline Inspection Board of the parent company. Then contacted several local lifestyle vloggers to expose the matter in an implied way, to remind office sisters to stay highly alert At the same time, I also found a friend who worked as a lawyer to consult on related legal issues and reserve the right to sue. 2 days later, the parent company sent people down to investigate. That scum of a boss. He still tried to deny it, but the evidence was plain. To see coupled with other female employees stepping forward to accuse him, leaving him with completely no way out. To preserve its reputation, the company ruthlessly fired him and publicly apologized to all the female employees who had ever been harassed while pledging to tighten management and absolutely not let similar things happen again. When Jang Shuak got the news, she was stunned. "You're so amazing, you solved it so smoothly and quickly. Why did I think it would drag on for a long time?" Of course, take a look at whose girlfriend you are. Naturally, whoever dares bully you, I'll make them pay, I blurted out without thinking. Only realizing what I had just said, the 2 words girlfriend. A split second later, I felt a bit awkward, my earlobes turning burning red. Changuk also froze for a second. Then a sweet smile bloomed on her lips. She stood on tiptoe and pecked my cheek lightly, whispering, "That's right, I'm your girlfriend. From now on, you have to protect me forever. Okay?" My heart turned sweet as honey, and I casually pulled her into my arms, leaning down to plant a kiss, a gentle yet deep kiss, overflowing with all emotions and the days of close companionship. It wasn't grandiose or legendary, but enough to be etched deep in our hearts ever since. That day, we officially confirmed our relationship. No longer a tacit ambiguity, but an upright and acknowledged couple. The rental house also completely transformed into a small nest filled with sweetness and warmth. While later, I also ran into a bit of trouble. My spiritual account was maliciously reported by a colleague. They framed me for promoting superstition, and just like that, several videos vanished while my engagement was tanked miserably, my income plummeting in a free fall. I was extremely depressed, locking myself in the study all day long without uttering a single word. Chang He saw everything, her heart burning like fire, but she didn't complain at all. Quietly changing up recipes every day to cook delicious food, staying by my side to encourage and comfort me. She even figured out platform's rules, helping me gather ideas, revising scripts, staying up late by my side and racking our brains to find solutions. Jonghyuk sat right beside me, holding my hand tightly. "Don't get discouraged. Your content is top tier. You're just being tripped up by petty people. Let's calmly adjust and rebuild, and it'll definitely blow up again, you'll see." Her eyes blazed with trust. Thanks to that encouragement and close presence, gradually pulled myself together, reading out to optimize content, avoiding sensitive keywords, and investing more heavily in scripts and video quality. Jonghyuk also contributed her brains and efforts, coming up with countless bizarre and unique ideas. Her thinking was quirky and bold, yet a perfect fit for my spiritual channel. Unexpectedly, after it revamped, the channel's traffic crept back up and even exploded more than before, with the follower count surging drastically and income soaring several times higher than before. I pulled her into my arms with immense gratitude, truly thanks to her good fortune. Otherwise, without her, I'd probably still be floundering in the dark for a long time. She was my lucky star. Hearing that, Changshuk was thrilled to pieces, patting her chest and proclaiming, "I'm your girlfriend after all. Helping you is only natural. From now on, the 2 of us will work together with one heart to cultivate life that gets increasingly prosperous." Changshuk touched. The 2 of us working together to build life that is increasingly prosperous and warm. Jong contact against my chest with a sweet smile. Turns out true love was never about one-sided sacrifice, but about walking together, being each other's solid pillar. When times are hard, having someone by your side when you stumble, and having a hand to pull you up, sharing joys and sorrows without changing or wavering. Winter quietly descended, welcoming the city's first snowfall that drifted across the sky, draping it in a breathtaking silver coat. That day was a day off. Outside, snow fell in a blanket of white, while inside the heating blazed warmly. I had painstakingly prepared for a long time, intending to properly confess to Changhyuk and give her something solemn. Although previously, We had tacitly confirmed things. Still owed her a formal confession. Felt something was missing. A clear milestone. This girl had followed me huddling in a rental apartment without enjoying a single day of blessing. Instead, enduring all sorts of hardships. I wanted to give her an absolute sense of security and make her understand that I genuinely wanted to commit for life. I secretly redecorated the room, not with flashy extravagant flowers, but hanging the blinking fairy lights she liked to fill the living room and balcony with a sparkling glow. I made a table of food, all featuring her favorite dishes with my own hands, and bought a small pretty birthday cake, along with a tiny silver ring. It wasn't worth a fortune. It was what I saved up and squeezed out to buy, symbolizing true affection. That morning, Shogaku woke up, just as she stepped out of her room, seeing the space decorated in a warm, romantic way, along with a steaming meal. She froze on the spot, looking at me with eyes full of astonishment. "What day is it today? Why are you suddenly making this so elaborate?" I took her hand, leading her to sit down at the dining table. My gaze, sincere and deeply affectionate, as I looked deep into her eyes, pronouncing each word solemnly. "Today isn't any special day at all. I just wanted to properly confess to you, to bring you that sense of being cherished, and to tell you how much I adore you." The two of us started from a pair of bickering frenemies sharing a room, gradually opening up and walking alongside each other, and up to now, deeply understanding each other's hearts. I never thought my life would become so vibrant and meaningful just because of someone. Before, when I was by myself, I figured getting through the days was fine. Just having food to eat and a place to crash was enough. But ever since I met you, I finally understood what a home is and what having ties means. I don't have much money, and my talent is limited. I'm just a shabby content creator who can't promise a life of immense wealth and luxury. But I dare promise that for every day from now on, I will love you to the utmost, spoil you wholeheartedly, and not let you suffer grievances, not let you be lonely or cold. 3 meals a day, I will cook them for you. For the rest of this life, I will stay by your side. Jonghyuk, I love you. This isn't a moment of rashness, but after thorough thought. Would you be willing to be my girlfriend and spend this whole lifetime marrying me? I took out the small silver ring, knelt on one knee, and looked up at her with my heart fluttering, yet filled with hope. Jonghyuk stood frozen in place, tears instantly streaming down, tears of deep emotion and happiness. "Yes, yes!" She nodded vigorously, her voice choked. "I'm willing. I've been willing for a long time." I stood up, sliding the ring onto her finger. The size fit perfectly. "From now on, you're my person. Where else do you think you can run off to?" Jonghyuk hugged me tightly, crying a mess, while smiling in complete fulfillment. She admired the ring with a wide grin. "This is the best gift I've ever received, prettier than all the gold and jade in the world." That day we stood by the window watching snowflakes fly and dance, eating a home-cooked meal and chatting about the future. Our hearts infinitely warm. There were no flowery words, no expensive gifts, but ordinary happiness. Eating a home-cooked meal. Auntie telling stories about the future. My heart warmed tremendously. There were no empty cliché words, no expensive gifts, but simple happiness. Kindness was more precious than anything else in the world. The snow fell heavily all day long. When night came, the snow stopped, leaving behind a blank white space. A pale yellow moonlight cast down on the blanket of snow, breathtakingly beautiful. I took Jonghyuk's hand, walked down the stairs together, stepping onto the thick, spongy snow, hearing the pleasing crunch. We intertwined our fingers, strolling leisurely, chatting and giggling musically as we walked. The freezing cold of the winter morning completely dispelled by our warmth. Jonghyuk pointed up at the full moon cheerfully and livelily, chiming, "Look at that round moon, honey. No matter how round the moon is, it's not as pretty as you." I leaned down and brushed my lips against her forehead, my heart throbbing with love. At that moment, I suddenly realized that the greatest happiness in a human life is nothing more than finding your true love in the vast, boundless sea of people wandering all around, only for it to still be you, with the rest of my life entirely filled by you. After officially confirming our relationship and swearing vows to each other, Our days remained modest, cozy, but infused with an added sense of peace and firmness, no longer a scene of temporary boarding, but a lifelong commitment. Jang-suk still went to work as usual, and coming home meant ready rice and sweet soup. I continued with my creative profession. My career gradually falling into a regular routine, with income growing increasingly stable. We saved money together to prepare for the future, planning to save up on a down payment for another year so we could buy a small apartment and truly have a home under our own names. The trivial and everyday banter remained the same. For instance, I still often nagged her for being clumsy and scatterbrained, while she constantly complained that I had toxic mouth and didn't know how to be romantic, but both understood that this was our unique way of interacting. No matter how much we bickered, we would never get genuinely angry. On the contrary, our bond grew even closer. During the Lunar New Year that year, I followed Jiangshu back to her hometown to burn incense for her late father. Standing before the gravestone of her late father, Sakura promised to take good care of Jiangshu and treat her well for the rest of my life. Setting his mind at ease, Changshuk stood beside me, interlocking her fingers with mine, her eyes brimming with gratitude and serenity. After the holiday, turning to the rental room, we started a bustling new year. I focused more on making content, and the channels each grew wider and wider. I picked up several more suitable brand deals, multiplying my income compared to before, while our bank savings also climbed significantly. Changshuk also jumped to a new harbor with a comfortable environment and better benefits, no longer worrying about being squeezed out every day. She went to work full of energy. We still sheltered in the 2-bedroom rented apartment. This place had long since transformed into our little corner, with every nook and cranny branded by memories and carrying the flavor of a family. Every morning, we woke up together. I handled breakfast, she tidied the house. In the evening, we walked home together, fired up the stove, lay down, watched TV, and chatted about random things. On lazy weekends, we curled up at home or held hands, strolling through the streets to watch a movie. Simple, yet sweet. Occasionally, we reminisced about our days in that old shabby apartment, thinking of the rotten door that wouldn't close properly, thinking of the water heater that gave us electric scares, thinking of her silliness when she threw away my SSD, thinking of my panicked look when I handcuffed her to the hospital, thinking of those early days of non-stop bickering and then looking at each other with a quiet, knowing smile. If back then you hadn't let me rent with you, if the landlady hadn't demanded the house back to sell it, if you hadn't brazenly come looking for me, would we have missed each other? Definitely not. Even if we missed a beat for a moment, we wouldn't miss each other for a lifetime. The two of us were destined. No matter how many detours we took, the final destination was still ending up together. Circling around endlessly, I would still run into you and still fall for you. That was destiny, and our affinity was truly magical, from mutual rejection and resentment at the start, to gentle stirring, and finally to a lifelong bond. It seemed accidental, yet was inevitable. Two lonely souls wandering through an unfamiliar city, eating through cohabitation, growing attached through closeness, and turning trivial worries with our own hands into a peaceful poem of life. Turning around and around, spring came again. Outside, the window flowers bloomed, all things vived and vitality brimmed. We had saved up enough for a down payment and picked out a cute, well-designed 2-bedroom apartment with square layouts and overflowing sunlight. The distance to her company was quite close, and it was also convenient for me to work from home. On the day we put pen to paper to sign the documents, we clasped hands and looked at our very own home, our eyes brimming with excitement and anticipation. Changshuk hugged me with a wide grin. We really have a home now, honey. No more renting, no more breaking our backs, cleaning other people's places. From now on, this is our house, our lifelong sanctuary. I smiled in response, my heart filled with fulfillment. From that cramped, dilapidated rental room to real estate bearing our own names, right now we had striven together and hustled, trade for a place to belong. When moving into the new house, we didn't rely on anyone, just the two of us, and hurriedly packed up our belongings, every single tiny Keepsake was carefully cherished and brought to our nest. The lost Asus laptop, found again years ago, was placed prominently right on my desk. That was the witness to our very first encounter. The external hard drive she compensated me with back then was also kept by me, storing an entire sky of memories and my sources of inspiration. The new home's decor was super cozy, right to the taste of both of us. On the very first night we moved in here, I showed off my cooking skills with a huge spread, popping open a bottle of wine to toast our new beginning. Jonghyuk sat across from me, thoughtfully, feeling emotional. Thank you, Tran Mak, for always standing by my side and giving me a home. The one who should say thank you is me. Thank you for stepping into my life, warming up my years, so I wouldn't be lonely anymore. Raised my glass, clinking it lightly against hers. For the rest of this life, the storms are you. The peace is you, poverty is you, wealth is you, the tenderness at the bottom of this heart is dedicated to you, and these eyes will only ever choose